Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Let's get into our two teams now. Let's start with the Detroit Pistons. Last year, what a wonderful year to be a Piston fan last year, Clint. You know that it was so much fun. A lot of things for us to root for. We had a record that we sort of broke. Not a lot of teams break records every year. We did. We finished the season 14 and 68, and we did something I don't think any other team done in league history. We dropped to the fifth round overall pick again for the third straight year. So that was fun. Let me ask you, Clint, what was your favorite move that the Pistons made?
Hey, new coach, baby.
That's it.
Monty
Yeah.
Williams gone. A new coach, a new front office. Um, it just no matter what else they did, that has to be like far and away the best thing they did. Even if you didn't get rid of everyone in the front office, to get rid of Monty Williams, who just mailed it in for some money, it's a win.
100%. That's what I had. I had getting rid of Monty Williams and hiring JB Bickerstaff. I like Bickerstaff. Everything so far I've read about him. I looked through his coaching history. His teams get better from year one to year two to year three. We'll see if he can get over that hump. But it's not just in Cleveland, but I think in Memphis. He was in Memphis before. He did the exact same thing. Year one to year two got better, year two to year three. So he just has this pattern that he's develops teams very well like that as far as a pattern. Monty Williams never had that pattern. I talked about all the red flags, his record with and without Chris Paul, the fact he hasn't ever developed a young team. All those things are red flags. They all came to fruition. He's gone. We don't have to worry about the $72 million, the contract. That doesn't have to be a talking point this year, which is awesome. I'm with you. Getting a new coach and getting rid of Monty Williams, that's the best move that Pistons made this offseason.
Yep, and because they did a few good things. Hardaway, Beasley, Harris, they're competent players, and they have some shooting now.
Correct. And none of them are on stupid contracts, right? Even Tobias, I think it's like two years or 3 years, 2 years, I think 2 years and 26 million a year or something like that. It's not long, very tradable contracts. So, yeah, I'm with you there. Least favorite move that the Pistons made.
I'll just whisper it through because it's just a build on. Cade's not a max player, but
Oh.
we already settled this debate. Just
Yeah. So I think there's more potential with him because he's definitely more versatile of an offensive player. Like his assist to turnover ratio got better last year than the previous year. His points and his true shooting percentage went up last year from the previous year, which he was injured, but the year before, you know what I'm saying? It was the best of his career, basically. So he keeps improving. I have a little more faith in him than someone like Scotty Barnes, who kind of digressed after his rookie year, or Franz, who digressed. But it's one of those things like, what do you want them to do? They got to sign this guy, and he wants to be in Detroit, so we'll take him. Like,
yeah,
I love Cade, so I'm all in on him. But I can understand, like, especially from the outside looking in, you've been very consistent and fair because you have been fair about criticizing every extension that happens.
yeah,
So it's not like you're taking a personal shot at
yeah.
me. So
No, I would never do that.
no, not at all. Don't get random texts from you about my teams at all. Negative. My least favorite move, this was kind of a nitpick, was just Quentin Grimes got traded, and it was just kind of like I was kind of curious of like the kind of player he could be. As a 3-and-D wing, guard wing type player. I think they gave him away basically for nothing. But the truth of the matter is, and what I was saying at the time when they brought in Beasley and Hardaway Jr., you only get so many minutes, right? So he wasn't going to get a ton of minutes on this team anyway. But I still kind of was last year, kind of like when they traded for him, I was interested to see what he could do as a Piston, and we never really got to see that. So that would be my least favorite move.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's not. Okay, biggest question for the Pistons.
But I just wrote down how bad was Monty. Like we're gonna find out how really bad he was. In fairness, they have some better fitting pieces, but I think that the Pistons are a hard team going into the season. I'm fairly optimistic on them as we'll get to with predictions,
Oh,
but
wow.
because I think Monty Williams was that bad of a coach. But if if you're a Pistons fan and you believe in Cade and you believe in some of the young guys that they have, we're about to find out if Monty Williams was really as bad as we all we all thought. Because even if you just have competent coaching and a competent system with some of the shooting and with the youth that they have, it should at least look like something you can have hope for. I mean, the last 2 years have been just, I'm not a Pistons fan, but you get to the point where you're like, I don't even know what I'm going to watch in this game.
Right, correct. Yeah. No, and then like what Monty did to Ivy last year to me is the most unforgivable coaching job I've ever seen. Like I just like as a team who like obviously that's a little bit of hyperbole, but like for me as a Piston fan, for basketball purposes, like that was just coaching malpractice what he did to Ivy. And surprise, surprise, Ivy had a really good preseason game, his first game, and I'm just like, okay, you see the potential. Let's roll with it. I know it's preseason, but that's what you see in this guy. It's like, how did Monte have him the 10th, 11th guy coming off the bench in game 4 of the season? It's absolutely ridiculous. So that is an interesting question we'll have answered this season. And I think we'll all pretty much verifiably have like, yeah, we had this right at the end of that question. We'll have it answered in the way we think. Um, I have Ken, Kane, and Ivy work together. I think they can. I don't think like I don't understand why people are like, oh, most teams have 2 people that can handle the ball on the court. You need 2 people. They can work together, but we'll see. And really going out of this season, we need to have, and we as a Piston fan, we need to have 3 core players. So can we find 3 core players at the end of the season? They're all young. I think we have 10 players on our team that's 25 or younger. We can't re-sign them all. So can we identify 3 core players other than Cade at the end of this season? Is a question I want. I think the biggest question that we got to figure out that at the end of the season.
Yeah, it's important. And I think that's why bringing in some of those veterans that ideally you probably don't want to, depending on your motives, is you have to put something out there to see what fits and what works. Because if you don't have any shooting, you never know if Cade can work with Ivy. No one else can shoot. Yeah, or if Duran can turn into something like what you'll never know, or he'll get a false positive or false negative because you've confined things to only 1 or 2 outcomes. So all of it'll be important, and I think they'll at least get a couple answers to these when you have a coach, and at least you can have trust that the coaching staff will be able to identify, even if it's not seen, like, okay, we see something with him, but we can't quite get to it yet. But I think they'll identify what they need and what they can build with.
Yeah, I agree with that. Any other points or questions for the business? Okay, the only other thing is, can they get 2 of 3 to become solid shooters? Thompson, Holland, and Ivy. We just need 2 of 3. They hired Fred Vincent. We need 2 of 3. We can't have all of them be non-shooters. I think Ivy will get back into form. He shot 35%, I think, his rookie year. He had a down year last year. Again, Monty Williams, my opinion. We'll see if I'm right about that. But can that coach they brought in, Fred Vincent, the best shooting coach in the league, right? Can he get 2 of those 3 guys to shoot pretty good? And I think that'll be good for the Pistons.
He's going to earn his money.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, let's predict for the Pistons. What do you have them finishing?
So I have them as a fringe play-in team.
Let's go.
And this builds on this is drawing back when we did the if you could rebuild with a franchise, and I picked the Pistons a little higher than I should. I do think, as much as I like to give you a hard time about Cade, if you put a system in place, I do think the Pistons have enough talent to be respectable. It's just the fringe play-in is going to look weird if they get the answers they want and then they shut it down for a top pick. But the downside of the Pistons is they've been so bad the last couple of years, and they've got the 5th pick, 3 years in a row, that I don't know that they overtly care about getting the first pick in Cooper Flag. And if they happen to care a little more about at least looking good, then the Nets and the Wizards and the Bulls, if they pull the plug, I think they can hover around that 10 seed.
No, you know what? Fair point. Here's the thing. As a Piston fan, I am torn to what I want to do. I think they got to figure it out by the trade deadline. Like if you figured out that you can build around these guys, I don't need another 21-year-old, the 20-year-old, the 19-year-old, and I don't need another one of those guys. I'm good with the roster we have if you can build something with it. But if by the trade deadline you're not convinced, then get what you can for the assets. Don't lose them for nothing. And then you can go and get that 19, 18-year-old. That's sort of how I personally feel about it. I don't want to add another one to these group of guys. That's my point. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't pay everybody. What are you going to do? So I don't know. I'm with, I think that's the route to go. Prediction. You did the prediction. My prediction was lottery. But I do think they'll be closer to play in. They won't be the worst team in the league. I think they'll double their wins. That's my bold prediction. From 11 to 22.
Noted Knicks hater and Piston lover Clint for the 2025 NBA season.
Let's go. Well, you sometimes, Clint, you surprise me. You make me smile. Okay, let's do your Milwaukee Bucks. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.